Welcome to the Vegan Gym Live. I am Dr. Daphne Bascom, and I am so excited to have you here with us today. Whether you are a fitness newbie or you're a seasoned gym goer, today's topic is something that everyone can benefit from: how to build a sustainable workout routine. We all know that it can be easy to start new workout routines with tons of enthusiasm, only to maybe burn out or feel stuck along the way. That's why today we're going to break down what it really takes to create a fitness routine that you can actually stick with. One that's realistic, enjoyable, and most importantly, one that's sustainable over the long term. But to help us dive into this topic, please let me welcome Coach Gemma to the Vegan Gym Live.
Thank you, Daphne. It's lovely to be here.
Gemma, since this is your first time on the Vegan Gym Live, would you mind introducing yourself to the community? Where are you from? Sharing a little bit about your vegan journey? Why are you passionate about being a vegan health coach?
Sure, I'd love to. So I'm originally from the north of England, close to Manchester. But once I graduated from university with my bachelor's in nutrition and physiology in 2015, I think it was, I moved to Spain, to the south of Spain. So I've lived here for almost 10 years. And after I was here for 2 years, I set up my own personal training business, which focused on posture and strength training. And my vegan journey started about 5 years ago, maybe a little bit over now. And it was quite a U-turn in the road for me, because I'd learned nutrition at university, and that's what my degree was in. But I was starting to become more and more aware of animal rights issues, regardless of whether they were raised in a factory farm or if they were raised organically. So I was kind of confronted with this moral and ethical choice of what I wanted to do and where I was going to go. And I'd started reading Jonathan Safran Foer's book. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's called Eating Animals. And it was such a well-researched, well-written book. Mm-hmm. And it was very clear from the book that I had to go vegan, and not just as an animal activist, but also for health reasons, which was discussed very deeply in the book. So yeah, that was a bit about my vegan journey. And to answer your last question, I'm passionate about vegan health coaching because for me, it's a way of life. It's not a diet. It's something I wholeheartedly believe in a way of living for our health, for our community, for the animals, for the planet, for nature, and the continuation of the planet. So being able to blend my passion for fitness coaching and my philosophy of food and nutrition and optimal health is why I ended up being with the Vegan Gym. And it's just such a blessing and honor to be a part of this community. And I'm really grateful and thankful.
Gemma, we're grateful and thankful to have you here. So thanks. That's quite a compelling reason. And it just, everyone has a different journey, which is fascinating. And that's why I wanted to give you an opportunity to share, because everyone in the community gets to a different place in a different way. And it's just wonderful to understand a little bit more about each of the coaches on the team.
Absolutely.
But today we want to talk a little bit about how to build a sustainable workout routine. You've been coaching a long time, and it's fascinating that you've probably coached in multiple countries.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most common mistake you see people making when starting up a workout routine?
I think the most common mistake that I've seen people making, and I've been coaching for a long time, I would say that it's doing too much too soon. Mm-hmm. Like, we all get excited to start, motivation is high, and we kind of want to do it all. We want to get fit, be strong, have a six-pack, run a marathon, perform 10 pull-ups, and we all want to do it now.
In 30 days.
I'm guilty of this too. So I think the problem here, a few things that I want to touch upon is, this approach usually leads to a burnout. It's like a Ferrari car going from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. And I think it can also increase our risk of injury as well, because what we end up doing is overloading the muscles and the joints and the connective tissue. So if we're not conditioned enough to handle that level of stress that we're placing on them, then that's going to cause setbacks. So I think this also goes for people that are well-trained. They've just taken like maybe 6 months off. They go back to the gym and they're like, oh, this is what I used to deadlift, or this is what I used to squat, and bam, I'm going to go right back there. And they don't, again, build it up. So alongside the too much too soon, I think is this lack of a clear plan in a way. It's like, we can't do everything at once. Why don't we scale it back? Focus on one goal, two maximum if you have to, and hopefully they complement each other. You know, it's like, I want to be strong and I want to do a pull-up. Great. They work very well together.
Right.
So I think that's a better way of approaching this gradual approach to building up your fitness and strength levels rather than all or nothing, straight out the gate. And I think that's what's going to set people up for a stronger foundation, especially for long-term success and progress, which is what we want when we start a fitness journey. We want it to be a lifelong progression.
So let's talk about this from two perspectives. One, from people who have the benefit of having a coach like you. I assume that working with your coach, that will be a conversation. So setting your SMART goals, determining you may want to do a lot of things. What are the priorities now, and how do you develop a plan around there? So can you talk to the community about, one, how to have that conversation with your coach in a way that's collaborative? And then if you don't have a coach, or if you've had a coach and maybe you're in between coaches, how do you create those goals, and how do you develop a plan that can help you get to success without being frustrated or burned out or simply giving up on your goals?
So I think if you have a coach, hopefully the coach is doing some sort of intake with you. So when they're coming in, they're asking you, what are your goals? So that conversation is already on the table at the first meeting. I mean, that's at least how I do it. It's like, there's an initial intake. Okay, where are you in your fitness journey? What's your past experience? What's your history? What's your injury history like?
Mm-hmm.
And then that kind of sets the stage for, here I am, and here is where I would like to go. So hopefully you've already kind of crossed that bridge with your coach. And if not, it's a case of going up to them and saying like, hey, so here's what I think I would like to achieve. And then it's up to the coach to be able to tell you like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. Here's the time frame that we're looking at, hopefully getting a little bit deeper into it, because usually what we tend to do when we start setting goals is we don't make them super specific. So it's like what you said with the SMART goals. It's like, I say like, I want to lose weight. And it's like, okay, but
what does that mean?
What does that mean, right? So make it more specific. Like, I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay. Make it more measurable, right? Like, I want to get strong. So hopefully your coach is doing this with you. Like, okay, but what does strong mean to you? We each have a different definition of strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then how are we going to measure that? Because it's also important to do some testing, right? We want to make sure that we're doing that. And how do we know that? So I think that's the main thing when you're approaching with your coach, like that they're setting out some SMART goals with you, and that they're helping you to see what's achievable, what's realistic, and what the time frame is, so that you're not disheartened and you can keep progressing. And hopefully they're setting mini goals along the way. Maybe my goal is I want to run a marathon, but maybe I'm 6 months away from that, or a year away from that. Okay, so how do we keep that target here but steadily progress towards it? So I would say for somebody that doesn't have a coach and is like wondering like where to go, like think about what it is that you want from your life. What does that look like? Like envision it, have a why.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see yourself doing? What does your body look like? Are you currently in pain? Do you not want to be in pain? And then use the SMART system with goals. But also, I don't know if you've read the book by James Clear, Atomic Habits. I think you have.
Of course.
I did it to the vegan gym but before I joined. So that's actually my personal favorite approach, because he talks about the idea of like focusing on systems, not just goals. Mm-hmm. So rather than focusing on the end result, like I want to drop 20 pounds and that's what I want from this program, or I want to run a marathon. Instead, the focus is on daily habits and routines that will lead you to that outcome. So instead of thinking, I want to lose 20 pounds and I'm not going to be happy until I get there, it's more like, what system do I need to put in place to do that? And just an example would be, okay, maybe I need to be exercising for 45 minutes a day, 4 days a week, focusing on full body compound movements, setting a caloric intake that puts me in a deficit, tracking my food daily for a period of time, and then planning and preparing meals ahead of time, and then prioritizing sleep, hydration, and recovery, right? Those things is what's going to get us to the 20 pounds, but we're not going to stop at the 20 pounds. We're gonna keep going because we have a system in place, we have habits in place.
Awesome. And
I don't know if that answered your question, because I think there was another component about.
No, you answered working with your coach, And then the same approach in terms of leveraging processes, creating SMART goals, that also works if you're working as an individual. You still need to have that framework for how you are achieving the goals. But you mentioned something that I wanted to pull the thread on a little bit, which is an intake assessment. So how important is it to understand your current fitness level before starting a new workout routine? A lot of times and I know I'm going to be guilty of this. When I come back from my injury, I know I'm going to want to go right back to where I was before. Not
Right.
going to happen. Why is it important? And then what are some things that you recommend in terms of that assessment in order for our community to understand where are they starting from? Final question with this is, how frequently should you reassess to understand if you're making progress?
I'm going to start with the last question.
Mm-hmm.
I would be reassessing every 4 to 6 weeks. Usually that's when I change my training program. It doesn't have to be a drastic overhaul, but we should be looking at monthly improvements. Also, on a micro level, we should be looking at weekly improvements.
Mm-hmm.
So that is going to be something like a progressive overload. So this is what we want to start with, choosing a routine that is right for us, but is also going to get results. So the best way that we find that out is by performing some sort of baseline assessments. And that's going to depend largely on what your goals are. So if I want to get stronger, I want to be using some sort of strength test. So that's going to be things like 1 rep max if I'm well trained, or 1 to 10 rep max. That's going to be like maximum number of push-ups or pull-ups that I can perform. Maybe I have pain and I need to look a bit more at my posture. I'm working at the computer a lot. So do I have anterior pelvic tilt? Do I have sway back? Like doing a little bit of research into that. And from there, flexibility and mobility. Like, can I touch my toes? Can I reach overhead and not feel restricted in my shoulder? Are my hips stiff? Then on top of that, looking at endurance as well. Like, how many jumping jacks can I perform in 1 minute? Or how long does it take me to walk 1 mile or run 1 mile? Or how many bodyweight squats can I perform in 1 minute? So I think that those are a good base. And then starting your program, I always recommend that someone at least starts with a coach if you don't know what you're doing, because they're going to give you the blueprint. But at least then you have that number, and then in 4 weeks you test it again. So like, okay, how fast can I run now 4 weeks later? Or how many squats can I do now? Or how long can I hold a plank for now 4 to 6 weeks later? So if you are new to working out and you've chosen a routine online, I think that my best recommendation in that case would be look ahead at the program and see, is it a good fit for me? Like, can I do a push-up? No. Or maybe I shouldn't be following a calisthenics advanced program. Like maybe a super basic calisthenics program, but maybe that won't be the right one. So looking ahead, and if I see like, okay, it wants me to do a plank for 60 seconds, I can test that. Like, where am I now with my plank? How far away am I from that 60 seconds? It wants me to perform dumbbell squats. Am I comfortable with dumbbells? Can I perform full range of motion squats? How many can I do? It wants me to do 20. How far away am I? So I think that's a good way to also assess, like, is this the right program for me, or is it just maybe a little bit too advanced for me?
Awesome. And so those are good ways to do, to recap, every 4 to 6 weeks, doing that interim assessment in terms of kind of a macro assessment. You're assessing periodically on a weekly basis as you go through your progressive overload, because you should be making small improvements that you can track in an app, or you can track if you like to work out your programs on paper. But tracking is important for that reason, so that you can actually see your progress and monitor your progress, as opposed to thinking, well, I did 10 pounds 2 months ago, maybe now I'll bump it up to 15.
Right. It's also good for accountability. Like if you don't have a coach, like I remember when I started writing down what I was doing, because I would track on and off. It was more like, I'll do what I feel like, but I always got better results when I was following the program. Even though I knew what I was doing, we tend to do things that we enjoy doing, not what we need to be doing. Like
Exactly.
a well-known program will include everything. But I remember I would look and I'd be like, okay, 1 arm row, 15 kilos will be good. And then I looked at last week and it's like, I did 20. Really go down. So it's a really good way of like holding yourself accountable, because like you said, like, we should be getting 1% better every workout. Like we should be increasing the weight by 1 or 2 pounds, or at least 1 or 2 reps at the same weight. Like this is how we see results. Progressive overload is such an important prerequisite of making progress and following a good program.
And Gemma, one element is sustainability. So life will always get in the way. What is your advice to busy athletes who they have a job, they've got family, the holidays are coming up, so there are, whether it's Halloween or Thanksgiving or Christmas or any of the other fall, winter holidays that are looming, or vacation, what does sustainability mean in terms of navigating the challenges of life?
I think it can be really challenging fitting regular workouts into our day, especially the busier we get, especially when things crop up that we're not expecting or foresee. I think, especially for people that are busy with work, surely they know like what it means to schedule meetings and having to be somewhere on time, be prepared. I think we have to do the same thing with our workouts. If something is a priority, we need to schedule it like it's an appointment. So you have to treat your workout as a non-negotiable appointment. So you block it out in your calendar, just like you would with meetings or important events. And I think that this helps you to honor this sense of commitment that you've given yourself. And if you can't do the full workout, then that's fine. You opt for shorter, more intense workouts. You can do circuit training. You can do high intensity interval training. Sometimes I feel like I don't have time because I'm rushing around doing things. So I set a timer. I do 20 minutes and I get done what I can in 20 minutes.
Right.
It's about having the consistent habit that is what's going to lead to long-term results. And then finding a way to integrate movement into your daily routine, I think, is also such a big one. Like we have to find ways inside of what we're already doing that we can incorporate exercise, rather than I'm going to completely reorganize my schedule.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work, exactly. So where can I put it? What can I do?
Yeah. And a question that I frequently get, especially closer toward graduation. So one of the things I love to make sure is that we empower our athletes to build sustainable workouts. But where does someone start? So starting from a blank slate, starting from a workout that I already have is one way to go. So I've been working with a coach. I have workouts. I can make modifications to programs that I've already had. But if someone's listening, they've never had a coach, they want to start moving, where do they start? Or are there resources, or is there one place that you would recommend that they go, or one resource that they can access that would help them build a workout routine that they love and that they want to do?
I think first it starts with doing things that you actually enjoy doing. I think that's a big thing. Many people that I have met have told me like, oh, but I don't really enjoy exercising. And then when I ask them, what is that you've done? It's like, yeah, I wouldn't really enjoy that either. It's like, I've been running on the treadmill for 60 minutes, so find something that you enjoy doing. And so that's a really nice way of like discovering what types of movement and exercise you like. And I think I would start there. And then again, it just depends, like what are your goals? Like I think each and every person wants to feel strong in their body, wants to feel like they're not in pain, wants to be able to go up and down the stairs without getting out of breath, or have a more like long-term goal of like running a marathon or something a bit more difficult. So I think encompassing different modalities of training is important. So like power actually is really important. Like once we get over the age of like 35, our power really decreases. So making sure I'm following a program that incorporates power and some strength and some flexibility and some yoga or some mobility movements. Like start with what you enjoy and then see how much time you have available and then see where you can fit that. So for someone just starting off, I would say like, if they told me, look, I just generally want to be fitter and feel good in my body. Okay, so maybe Monday looks like doing strength workout. And I'm sure Vegan Gym has a lot of resources. I also really like Precision Nutrition. They have a very good like workout program with Excel templates as well, with how to perform the exercises. Precision Movement is also a really good one that focuses a bit more on mobility. So we can give links to people if they want to find those. And then, so Wednesday looks like, okay, I do a run, or I do a hike, and then Friday could be like going to yoga, and then Saturday, Sunday could be like a fun hike out. So just finding different ways of things that you enjoy, incorporating it, and having a little bit more of a full spectrum. If you love doing strength training, then great, do that. You know.
Do what you enjoy. That's the key. At least a good place to start. And then you can build from there. Because if you're doing things that you feel like it's work or it's a chore, it won't be sustainable.
Right. You have to enjoy what you're doing, or at least enjoy how you feel afterwards.
Correct.
I don't enjoy every single push-up I do. I don't enjoy every single thing that I do, but I enjoy the feeling afterwards. And that's also something to focus on. Like, what do I feel good doing, but also what do I feel good after I've completed that thing? Like, then go in that direction.
Gemma, you also mentioned the term burnout, and I know that that the word has become very pervasive in our culture for many reasons. But when you're thinking about either excessive fatigue, low energy availability, or burnout in terms of working out, what are some signs or some early warning indicators that maybe you're just going at it too hard and you need to pull back a little bit?
Okay, so if we're looking at the difference between workout fatigue and overtraining, I think it'd be good to start with defining that. So what is workout fatigue? So that's going to be something that is temporary. Some sore muscles, a slight decrease in performance, maybe a feeling of tiredness after exercise or after your workout. But this type of fatigue is going to be resolved typically with good nutrition, good hydration, good rest. If we're overtraining, this is going to be prolonged fatigue. So that's going to look more like the intensity is going down. Maybe niggling injuries start to crop up. Like, shoulders feels a bit weird. My back also, like, that's also a sign. Decreased motivation, especially if you're usually excited about going to the gym, to suddenly be like, I'm not, is usually a sign that maybe we need to back it off. I think difficulty sleeping as well, and or staying awake or being a bit restless. Changes as well in sleep is going to be an indicator. For me, when I have in the past, I've realized that my mood changes. Like, I just become a bit more irritable in traffic, and also maybe feeling like a little bit more anxious or overwhelmed, or just general things that wouldn't really bother me. Just I start to feel more. Yeah. So suddenly now they're really bothering me. Another thing that we can do, which is good for people that really struggle to listen to their body, like they're not sure if it's fatigue or if it's overtraining, like maybe I'm just not pushing myself hard enough, but I think I am, and I'm not really overtraining, then you could use something like heart rate variability. That's a great one, because what that will do is it'll take a look at it physiologically. So it kind of takes your mind out and you can just like read what it is. So for those that don't know what heart rate variability is, it's the variation of time between heartbeats, and that's going to reflect our autonomic nervous system. So the lower the number, the less recovered we are. So if we're 40, I think it's 40 milliseconds, then it shows like I'm really not recovered and I need to be able to take a rest. I think average is between 40 and 60, but again, if you're staying towards that lower number, like 40, maybe recover for longer. So high rate variability, which is 60 or above, is often the case what we see with athletes when they're very well recovered. So that's a good option for people that are just not sure if they're overtraining or not, and actually need something to tell them like, okay, yes, I can have permission to rest now. Because I think some people are very much like, no, I don't need to rest. They're like Goggins, So
Goggins.
Goggins rests really well. He's great with recovery. So.
But that's a very good differentiation, and I prefer the word overtraining to burnout. So there's the workout fatigue, which is normal, and you should recover. There is more of a chronic fatigue that may come with overtraining. And heart rate variability, there are so many smartwatches, apps, Whoops that you can use today to get an indication of your recovery. HRV, your baseline, I mean, there are some target numbers in terms of what that HRV optimal may be, but everyone's going to be a little different. So make sure you understand you and then try and find a way to optimize you.
Right, like find your base, like measure it for a week or longer and see like, okay, where am I typically? Yeah, that's a very good point.
Because it's interesting, I've been watching my HRV since my injury and it tanked. So, which makes sense. because body's under stress.
Right.
So now I'm anticipating that it's going to come up again, so that your heart rate variability can be an indicator that your body is working hard to recover from something. It could be your excess training, it could be an injury, it could be life stress, but it is a good indicator.
Right, absolutely. Any type of stress, not just workout recovery. Yeah, good point.
Gemma, so I wanted to talk about building a sustainable workout routine because, one, I want to make sure the community acknowledges that it's great to have goals. You may, as you indicated earlier, initial goal maybe I want to lose 20 pounds. You get that goal. Maybe the next goal is I want to do a recomposition. Maybe the next goal I want to run a road race, or I want to participate in high rocks. But I hope the message really is that movement needs to be a long-term activity. It's not, there's this punctuated equilibrium that we may get to, but we want you to find a way to move for the long term. And it has to be, as you said, something that you enjoy, something that's helping you meet your goals, but also there probably needs to be some variability so that you're doing the resistance training, that you're working on your VO2 max with the cardio, that you're working on your flexibility. I know that you would probably, and I need to have you back to talk about posture, because I see so many photos of people that are like this. And posture is so important, and I don't think we think about it, but we can, if you want to come back for another round on the Vegan Gym Live, we could talk just about posture and
I'd
why
love
that's
to.
important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be great. I mean, that's my passion. That's like my area. So, yeah.
But Gemma, is there anything else you wanted to share with the community today around building a sustainable workout routine?
I think what I just want people to take away from the conversation is that building a sustainable workout routine is all about consistency and adaptability. And it's not about being perfect every day, but finding what works for you and sticking to it, and then making small adjustments over time. Like you said, we have one goal, then the goalposts move, and we move to another one, and to another one, to another one. So your program that you started with it might not look like the program that you end up with a year later, or so on. So I think the key really is to create habits that fit into your life. Focus on progressive overload, gradual increase, rather than consistency over intensity, basically.
Yes.
And see it more as a marathon and not a sprint.
Awesome. Gemma, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. And we definitely will have you back, because I would love to talk about posture. It's not a topic we've discussed on the Vegan Gym Live, and knowing that we're all sitting at devices or spending time looking at our phones, I see a lot of poor posture, including in our youth.
Oh, especially in our youth. It's worse and worse with mobile phones.
Yes.
Especially the upper back and neck. I see it all the time with the teenagers, and it's hard for me to switch it off. When I walk around, I see it. Oh no, rotated shoulders, forward head. You're
Exactly.
gonna have very soon, or you're going to have chronic headaches. So, yeah.
But a big thank you to Coach Gemma for sharing your expertise, and to all of you for joining in today. I love that you're asking great questions, and want to encourage you, if you have questions after the live stream, feel free to post them on Facebook. We would love to hear from you. But remember, creating a workout routine isn't about quick fixes or following the latest trends. And Gemma nailed it: consistency and adaptability. You need to start where you are, you need to find what works for you, and you need to stay consistent over time. If you take away one thing from today's conversation, let it be this: fitness is a journey, and the key to making it a part of your life that you enjoy and that you can maintain for the long run, because this is a marathon, this isn't a sprint. Thanks again for tuning into the Vegan Gym Live. Coach Gemma, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much, Daphne. It was a pleasure.
And we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.